Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Teas at dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $eJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for joining in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share, to all of our platforms that we have for the definitely our Instagram page and our YouTube page, and follow us on Facebook. We're able to give more information about really what's going on and connect with you more on a one-to-one basis. So please follow us, like us, share, subscribe to our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. Give us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. All right. I really appreciate it. And just for you guys, just so you know, I'm going to tell you how you can win a $100. How you win $100 from the podcast, and it don't cost you nothing, but you got to stay to the end to find out. All right. So again, welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. And today, just like any other day, we are blessed with a guest. Miss Ashley, how are you?
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I am blessed to be here. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. Blessed to have you also. So first of all, let me say thank you for being on, because you could be doing anything else, but you took out time to spend with me and the listeners, and we definitely appreciate it and want to let you know that we thank you. And we don't take it for granted, right? Because you can do anything else, but you're here. So Miss Ashley, so where we're going to start, we're just going to jump right in. So introduce yourself to my listeners and tell us exactly what it is, who you are, and what it is that you do.
Okay, so I'm Ashley James. As you can see, my Instagram is Ashley Renee James. I'm the founder of the Own Your Authenticity brand. It is a brand that encourages women to be authentically themselves, to step out of their comfort zones, to do everything that their hearts desire, to pursue their purpose on purpose. I'm a strong proponent for women to live their lives and be alive while living. I don't believe that survival mode is what we should be stuck in. I believe that everybody has something inside of them that they're rooting for, that they really want to do, that their heart desires. And I feel like you should 100% go for that. So that is what my brand is all about. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Okay. Good. Excuse me. So you said a couple things that I want to touch on. Definitely, when we talking about dealing, not just women. I know that's you speak mostly to women
Mhm.
directly, but just for all people, when we talk about going after our purpose or
Right.
walking in our purpose, one of the things, one of the quotes that God gave me a couple years ago when I was beginning my journey of finding, what my purpose was. And that quote was, pain births purpose,
Mm.
purpose births progress, and progress is the evidence that God is at work. Right. And so throughout my life and throughout my own journeys, there have been some pain, whether it was my pain or whether it was pain from someone else that I can identify with. And with that pain came a purpose to make change.
Right.
And as I stepped out there to make change with those things, and the evidence that God was with me was the traction and the changes that was made, and the things that I could see of the change that I was making or the
Right.
impact that I was making. So in your own story, let's just go back actually, um, before you began, this journey. Who was Ashley James before you was the coach? And what really was that
Mm.
thing that happened that you made you say, you know what, I want to go on this journey to help other people.
So by professionally, I'm a nurse. So I was working as a nurse for about three and a half, maybe 4 years, rolling into the pandemic. And I had always felt like there is something else to my life. Like there is something else out there for me. It's not just, everybody like, oh, like you have a job, you have a career, like, oh, it's great, you're making money. And there was some part of me deep down inside that was like, yeah, but this, I just feel stuck. I feel trapped. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm doing the things and everybody's commending me for it, but I also feel like I'm not exactly where I want to be. And I know that sometimes we can pray about the thing and we want that thing, and God, I want that thing. And we get that thing and then we're in it and we don't realize. But I got to a point where I was like, yeah, this is, no, something's missing though. Like something is literally missing. I kept saying it, like something's missing. I want to do more. I want to write a book. I want to do this thing. I want to host events. And I kept saying those things. But I felt like, but how? You're a nurse. You went to school for nursing. Your background is in the sciences. How are you going to host events? Like, what are you talking to these people about? And I remember I ventured off into network marketing because it was the one thing that stood out to me. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was the one thing that stood out to me. And when I met someone who was doing it, and she said to me, she was also in the medical field. And that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, okay, she probably feels the same way I feel. And she probably feels like there is something more to her life and she's just not doing it. And so I just wanted to venture out. I wanted to see what else was out there for me. I wanted to see what life had to offer. Because I don't know about you, but I grew up in a Caribbean household. And 9 out of 10 times, it's like, yeah, no, you should go to school. You need to get some degrees. You need to lock it under your belt, get a good career so that, like you can thrive in life and you can be happy. And I was like, yeah, but I'm doing that and I'm not happy. I'm doing it, but some way, somehow, I'm not fully fulfilled. And so when I ventured out, it kind of took me, it was like a full 180, because I was like, this is not it for me either. I'm not doing the things that I said I wanted to do. I'm not writing the book. I'm not hosting events. I'm not influencing women in the way that I want to. And it took for, I call it my silent season. And I will always say this, it took for the silence of the pandemic, is what I call it. When everything was locked down, everything was kind of just silenced. Everybody's in their house, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? And I kind of just took it and I was like, Lord, I don't think that this is happening just because. I don't think that this is just, like some random thing that decided to happen and, oh, pandemic and oh my gosh. I felt like, no, this is probably a sign and I should take it and I should run with it. And I used the silent season and I used the feelings that I was having. I kept feeling like, okay, I'm doing this thing on the side, but it's not really speaking to me. I felt like you're just going with emotions and doing the thing because you got to do the thing. And I was like, yeah, but I don't feel like myself. I genuinely don't feel happy. And it took for one day for me to really sit down. I was at a friend's graduation party during COVID. We had a small like get together in my friend's house. And I was sitting there, and it was just like the picture perfect moment of the pretty girl. I'm not gonna boast, but I find myself to be, I'm gonna, right. So I was like, I'm that pretty black girl, and I've come to this point in life where I can celebrate myself, and I can, speak all these things about myself, and I'm successful, and I'm doing this, and I have a business, and I was sitting there looking at myself, like it was almost like I had an out of body experience, because I saw myself looking at myself, and I was like, you look good on the outside looking in, but on the inside, it's like turmoil. You're not happy. You're not where you say you want to be. And it had nothing to do with my career. It had everything to do with purpose. It had everything to do with fulfillment. And so as I'm sitting there looking at my friend, I'm saying to myself, she looks happy. Like she genuinely looks like, wow, like I've done this thing. I am excited. Like I'm excited for life. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, on paper, I look great. But like if you were really in my mind right now, you would understand that this is not it. And so I went home that night, and I prayed about it, and I was like, Lord, I feel like you're really trying to give me a sign. And at the time I was trying to rework my relationship with God. And I was trying to figure out like, what does that look like for me? Because we grew up in church, and it's like, yeah, go to church every Sunday and do this and read your Bible. But we don't understand it until we get to a certain age that, hey, but it's your relationship, not what your grandmother told you, not what your mom and them told you. Like, it's not about that. It's about your relationship with Christ. And it took for me to sit down and really pray about it. And I was like, Lord, I'm not happy. And I can't BS you, because you know what's going on. And you know the vision that you gave me. You know everything that you told me. And you know what's going on in my mind and in my heart. And it took for me to just stop and say, you know what? This isn't it. This isn't it. And so I ventured out of the network marketing business. And I really just stopped, and I said, what is it that you want to do? And it took me back to a thought, actually a vision, because I make vision boards every year with my friends. And it took me back to one line on the vision board that said, get serious, build a brand, empower your future. And I was sitting there thinking about it, like, why did you ever detour from this quote that you have on the, like, you literally sat there, you put it on the vision board for a reason. You know the vision that you have, you know what's on your heart. Why did you veer away from that? And I prayed about it, and I was like, yeah, no, something has to give. And I remember, if I can get the date correct, it was May 24th, 2020, that I found Patrice Washington. She's actually a coach of mine. And everything that she had to say, everything that her brand spoke about was purpose. And I was like, this is it. It was like an answered prayer at the most opportune time. I prayed about this maybe 5 days before. And I was very strong on my feelings. I was like, no, put your foot down and mean what you say. You know that there is something else out there for you. Stick with that feeling. Others might not understand it. Others might look at you like, oh, maybe you should just get another degree. And I was like, nah, that's not really it. I don't want to do that. I'm tired of school. I don't want to do that. Everybody's like, what are you going to do next? Like, are you going to get another nursing degree? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. It may come, but not in this box that you're putting me in. Because I felt boxed in for so many years. And I was like, no, it's purpose that's missing. The thing that I'm looking for, and the thing that I keep trying to find, and the that tangible thing that you can put your finger on, that other people can understand, because people want to see, the papers and the degrees, and they want to see the thing. But I was like, no, but it's purpose. And not everybody's going to understand that, but I'm okay with that. And it was May of 2020 that I decided, no, purpose is my thing. I think that was the answer that I was looking for. That was a prayer that I had prayed. It was the fulfillment piece that I so longed for, and I had found it.
All right, all right. You said a couple things.
Mhm.
One thing, you spoke about vision board. So this year I actually hosted a vision board party this
Nice.
year for my very first time,
Hmm.
and I made my own vision board and I put it up in my office and I look at it every day, and I'm really on track to do everything that I had on there this year. I said I got to make another one because
Yeah.
this was my vision for the future,
Yeah.
and most of the stuff I have done by the end of the year.
It
So I said
makes a difference.
I gotta make another vision board.
Yeah.
So definitely I believe in vision boards. So taking out your time to really think about what it is that you want and where you want to go.
Yeah.
And the Bible says write the vision and make it plain.
Yep.
So when you do a vision board, you're able to put it together where you can see it, visually, get it out of your head, and now it's in front of you, and that makes it even more real. Another thing that you talked about was the pandemic, and the pandemic, to an extent, it really was a blessing to a lot of people, and it's unfortunate that it also came with a lot of hurt,
Yeah.
with a lot of people also. And one of the things that I talk about, even in some things that happened in my own life,
Mm.
is I heard the term. Actually, it was a movie. It's a term, but it's also a movie, and it's called collateral damage. And
Yeah.
it's an old movie, came out years ago. But what it is when something happens and maybe you had nothing to do with it, but it affected you in some type of way,
Yeah.
and so one of the things that happened with me some years ago was my mom passed away from
Mm.
cancer. And at that time, my mother-in-law at the time had also passed away. And so that birthed within me to start a nonprofit organization named after the both of them called
Mm.
Ann Christine Charities, in which I worked on support groups with bereavement support groups, in our community. So that was all good for me. Like, oh, now you found this purpose and everything. But the collateral damage is I got 8 sisters and brothers,
Mm.
and they didn't get that same vision,
Yeah.
but they had to go through the same pain. And
Right.
so the pandemic is similar like that. It's like where on one hand it was so much damage, so
Mm.
much loss of life, loss of jobs, loss of income, loss of a whole lot of things. On the opposite side, there was a lot of blessings that came out of it,
Yeah.
and some of it was financial for some people. Some people was able to take their businesses to the next level, but a lot of us, like yourself, was able to sit down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just sit
Yep.
down and be still. And in that quiet time, in that sitting down time, we're able to hear what it is that God has been trying to tell us all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe he was yelling it all the time. The signs were all there, but we're so busy doing our day to day and moving around, we didn't see it.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, I'm gonna sit everybody down. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna sit everybody down, and everybody gonna have a chance to really look and see what it is, their purpose, whatever it is, their drive, their visions. They have time to sit down and really look at what it is and where it is they're trying to go. So I
Right.
definitely, agree with you with that quiet time from the pandemic. It just birthed so much, this year. But when I think about, even with that,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, even though they were able to sit down, they were able to see their vision more clearly, they still somewhat either was afraid to move out on it, was afraid to press forward and press forward, move forward with their visions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some people just have unrealistic expectations, and on either side. So sometimes we have unrealistic expectations of how good something is going to be, and it's not as good as we made it out to be. Or on the other side, we have expectations on how hard or how difficult or how bad something is going to be, and it's not that either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think those unrealistic expectations push people, either push them to move, or it push them, it put you in a place where you're afraid to do anything.
Yeah.
So I know that, when you're speaking to some of the women that you talk to, I'm sure that's some of their things too.
Yep.
Just being afraid to step into their greatness,
Yeah.
So what is some of the things that you help them to be able to see, and to get them past that point, like, look, you got this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So what is it from your perspective? I ain't gonna put words in your mouth, but from your perspective,
Mhm.
what is some of the things that you help them and encourage them to see, to be able to see, that they're able to do the things that they have?
So it's funny because a lot of my coaching, and I also had to come to, I guess, a realization that the title doesn't make you, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I'm a registered nurse by title, by profession, yes. And, that does take some learning, some degree, whatever the case may be. But as it pertains to certain things, a lot of people feel like, and a lot of the women I speak to, because I used to say, oh, but I'm not necessarily like, I don't have a coaching certification, I don't have this and I don't have that. But then I took it back and I'm like, yeah, but almost everybody that I do speak to, right? They're like, oh my gosh, like, wow, you helped me to see X, Y, and Z. And then I stopped one day and I was like, you don't need the title to make you who you are, right? You're doing the work either way. And so that's one of the things I had to realize for myself, but also in speaking to everyday women. I'm talking about my cousin, I'm talking about friends, close friends, people who I do Own Your Authenticity really started out as a blog. So I have people who commented on the blog site and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is so good. Thank you for helping me, see this thing within myself or that thing. And in the conversations that I'm having, I'm realizing that it's really my own testimonies and really my own story and pieces of my story that come out, whether it's through the blog. I just published a new book, and people are coming to me and they're telling me, hey, like, I see myself in your story and I see myself here and there. And really, the underlying message is be true to you. You have to just be true to yourself, because I feel like we see, like social media nowadays and everything is, oh, but she can do this and she has that and she has all these things. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not your life. And that's not, why are you paying attention to those things? That's not what you have. You don't have the same things. You're not going to measure up to her when you're here. And it's not necessarily financial. It's not necessarily looks or anything like that. Excuse me. Sometimes it's just they put the work in from here to climb up the ladder and you're still at step one. You have to step on to step one to even get to step 2 and 3 and 4 and to 30. And so, even today, I went to work for a little bit and um one of my friends said to me, she was like, oh, but like, I want to be skinny and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to happen overnight. And a lot of the things that we look at, we think it happens overnight. We wake up and we're, oh, this Instagram sensation. Oh, we wake up and the book is written. It doesn't happen like that. It takes time, it takes effort. And a lot of what happens behind that too is the excuse. It's the excuse, and the excuse that's birthed from fear. So we sit on it and we're like, oh, but I can't write a book because, and I don't have a publisher and I don't have an editor. And it's like, yeah, but you have Google and you can also find those resources. So for me, it's always been, I won't say simple, but my solution to the problems are always like, but it doesn't have to be the grand picture that you see. It doesn't have to be the grand solution that you're like divvying up. Sometimes it's just the little things that make the difference. I'll give you an example, and it's a personal example. Last year, I had an event. I hosted an event, my first event, something that I had always said I wanted to do. And a week before the event, I had no venue. And some way, somehow, I find the strength, I found the courage, I found the faith. And I was like, Lord, I don't think I'm doing this on my own accord. I really think you're pushing me to do this. And I know the reason why. And I had to just see it through. And a part of one of my mantras is pivot. Sometimes you'll have the vision and you'll see the things clear and you'll make the excuse, oh, but I don't have a background. Where am I going to record the podcast? Oh, but I don't have this. How am I going to record if I don't have a camera? I'm using my iPhone right now with my iPhone, like with the camera and the mic and everything else. You don't have to go out and buy a microphone. Just the other day, somebody came to me and she was like, oh, but like, how do I start? You start. Like, take the first step. Or you have to write the idea down. Figure out what your podcast name is. Literally, just the other day in my DMs, and I was just like, sometimes it just takes step 1, then step 2, then step 3. Don't overthink it. If the step isn't working out, you pivot. I was able to pivot last year a lot of things. If nothing else, the pandemic taught me pivot. It doesn't mean that the vision isn't yours to have. It doesn't mean that the vision is not going to work out because, finances. And again, it's the fear. You're rooted in fear so much that you think, oh, but I don't have all the money, so maybe this is not supposed to work out. And God is like, no, girl, like, no, you have the resources. It's okay. Sometimes all you got to do is pivot. So the women who come to me and they either ask for advice or just through talking about personal life and, just their regular everyday situations, for me, it's just like, focus on you. Don't watch anybody else's grass because their grass is not necessarily greener. From your perspective, maybe, but it's not necessarily the case. You don't know what they have going on. Focus on yourself, be true to you, and stick in that. Whatever God gave you is what you need to produce, and that's it.
Yeah. So let me go back. One of the things that you said is the title doesn't make you, right? And so that stuck with me because as a minister and as a pastor, executive pastor, um, I came to a lot of people. You meet a lot of ministers, you meet a lot of preachers' wives, whatever. And so I remember having a conversation with a young lady, and she was like, "I don't want to be a preacher's wife. I don't want to be a pastor's wife because you got to do this, you got to do that, and all this stuff. This whole thing that she ran down." And I said, "Where do you get that from?
Right.
Who told you have to do that? What? That's what they do." I said, "Who is they?" I said, "You can't let the title make you. You make the title." Right? You're the person. So if you step into that role, then you make that role means what it means to you.
Yeah.
And so even outside of that, and whatever you do in life, you are the person. You are the benchmark. A title don't mean anything. It's just another name that's added on to your name. But you make it mean what it's supposed to mean. I remember, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Eric Thomas. He's a
sounds familiar.
Number one motivational speaker in the world, whatever. Okay. But I remember in one of his podcasts, on his podcast, him and his other guys that's on there with him, they have a segment where they I don't remember what it's called, but they read all the negative comments, right? And so he actually has a doctorate's degree. And so, he doesn't use it. So they don't call him Dr. Eric Thomas.
Right.
They just call him Eric Thomas. Right. So, but one of the guys, somebody commented and they said, "Oh, you really do have a doctorate. I thought you said doctor like Dr. Dre." So my point is, you make the name. So either you could be
100%.
Dr. Eric Thomas, who actually has an actual doctorate that he went to college and got, or you could be Dr. Dre because you decided to call yourself Dr. Dre and you make it mean what it means. So now everyone else calls you Dr. Dre and you ain't even a doctor.
Right.
So we have to get to that point where we're able to make ourselves, build our life, build the visions that we have for ourselves, how we see it and how we define it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I always ask people when I'm talking about in that same subject, I ask people, what is a Nike? If you look in the dictionary and look up, just find out what is a Nike?
Yeah.
It's nothing. It doesn't exist. It didn't exist till he came up with the name and put it on a shoe, and then he made the shoe mean something.
Yeah.
So now when we say Nike, now it means something. Now we associate it with this brand of athletic wear and athletes and Michael Jordan is all that. But where did it start? It wasn't even a real word.
Right.
He made it up, and then he made it mean something. And so I think that's where a thing for us, even with our lives, make up whatever you want to be, make it up, and then make it mean something. You know what I mean? Whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is, whatever it is that you want to see to come to fruition, make it up. Right. And then make it mean something. And then when you make it mean something, everyone else will see it the way that you've seen it. So I didn't take over. This is about you, not about me.
No, it's fine. The whole time you're talking just now, all I can hear is release the expectations, but also own your authenticity. And a huge part of what my brand is and how it started was just coming to the fact that, you know what, Ash, you don't have to do what everybody expects you to do. It doesn't have to be, oh, you have to get another degree. Oh, well, you've been a nurse for 3-4 years now. You need to. No, I'm gonna start a blog. and my fear was rooted in, oh my God, like what are people gonna say? Are they gonna find it weird? Like I don't even want to talk about nursing stuff. I want to talk about just everyday women's, like what we go through, what we think, how we think, that kind of thing. But when I stopped and I thought about it, I was just like, no, but own your authenticity. That is exactly what the brand is about. It's talking about the stuff that nobody else wants to talk about. It's talking about exactly what you just said. Make something up and make it your own, and that's okay. So I agree with you 100%.
Oh, good, good, good. So, speaking of your program, let's talk a little bit about your program, and then I want to talk about a little bit about your book also.
Mm-hmm.
So, the program, how is your program set up?
Mm-hmm.
The way that it runs, so that if someone was to coming to you to work with you, how would that go?
So I'll say this. So the program actually has been kind of on the back burner. The book has taken precedence over the past couple months. The book is currently my baby. A journey to becoming, own your authenticity, and find peace and purpose. That has been my baby for the past couple months. It was just published last month. So that's been my main focus. And it's funny because the program was something that I really wanted to do at the time, and I was hell bent on it, but then I was like, yeah, but no, the book is here, and I feel the book inside me, and I had already written the book, and I put it down, and I was sleeping on it, and I was like, I don't know if I should do this, and I kept feeling that nudge, and I kept getting that God with, like, girl, if you don't go ahead and get this editor so you can get this book out. And so far I'll say that the book has been doing well, and not in terms of sales or anything like that, but the response that I'm getting from the book, with women coming to me and just saying, hey, I appreciate you for doing this. I see myself in your story. Thank you for saying this thing, or thank you for um, being so open and so vulnerable about your emotional trauma and what you felt like, you were going through as a kid, or what you just felt when you were growing up, what you felt going through life in your 20s and things like that. And I feel like that's the response that I wanted, but that's what I feel like women need right now. I think, sometimes we're just so caught up in, again, the expectations, and we're so caught up in what we should be doing and what is expected of us, especially women, us at age, and we need to get married and we need to do this thing and the kids, and oh my gosh, and the clock is ticking. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but no, live your life. Also, you're on a journey. You don't need to have it so much so that you have to get to this destination by 30. I'm 29, and I'm just like, life is meant to be lived. Like, I'm okay where I'm at right now, and I'm content. And I think that a lot of women get so caught up in, I need to do this and I have to do that thing, that they miss out on, but just live. Just be you. Just feel you. Like, you want to go outside and just sit in the grass for 10 hours? Do that. Why does it have to be that you have to do what social media is saying that you have to do, right? And so really, that's where A Journey to Becoming, the book title, came from. It's just like, no, I'm on a journey. I'm okay with things not working out, because the program initially, it didn't air, but I launched the program. It didn't do as well as I wanted it to do. And I scaled back and I pivoted. And I was just like, maybe this is not the time, which is, just my truth about the program. I was actually able to do, oh my God, I want to say a mastermind at the beginning of this year. And the women who joined were blessed. And they came to me, one specifically, somebody that I went to high school with. And she said, Ash, you don't even know how much you blessed me with this, with the mastermind. It was 2 hours long. They joined in, they got whatever they got. They had access to all the materials. And she said to me, it was really something that you had said in YouTube, which was 2 years ago now. But she was like, I joined your mastermind and I was just blown away, because everything that you said related to me. I could see myself in you and everything that you had to say. And for me, it was just like, don't sleep on yourself. Don't quit on yourself because you feel like you have to be at this destination, because you feel like you have to, like, these are the expectations and you're not living up to it. Don't sleep on yourself because of that. And that mastermind was actually called Quit Playing Small. Quit playing small. You have the tools, you have the vision, you have everything that you need to start right now. And so on my journey to becoming, I'm realizing that, like, it's okay. It's okay for things not to work out. It's okay for things to, do a full 180 and for it to just be even better. It's okay for God to give you a vision and to take it a little step further because you didn't understand what it was supposed to be. But he was just like, well, this is what I have for you, not that little thing over there. That's okay too. So for me, it's just like quit playing small and enjoy your journey. It's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So first of all, let me say congratulations on the book,
Thank you.
because I know that process and I know
Yeah.
how that can be. So I literally started writing my first physical book
Mm-hmm.
and set it down, and in the midst of me sitting that down, I wrote three ebooks, and still tomorrow I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna get back to it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get back to it. I plan to have it done by the end of this year. So
Right.
I gotta sit down and focus and get it done. So again, congratulations
Thank you.
on that book. And I'm sure that it's going to be a hit, because one of the things that you said multiple times today, which I really think is important, is when people can see themselves in you,
Mm,
right? I think that's one of our biggest gifts that
yeah.
we give to people when it comes to us being vulnerable and sharing our truth, right? Because we're able to show ourselves how we really are, and the things that we've went through, and the things that we've made it over, and when we're able to do that, then people can see, oh, they did it, I can do it too. And if I'm going through, or if they're going through the same things that we've dealt with, and
Mm-hmm.
they're dealing with the same issues that we have dealt with, then they know, okay, Ernest got through it, so I know I can do it.
Right.
Ashley got through it, I know I can do it.
Right.
And then a lot of times, not only can they get through it, but one of the things that I say is that when we're going through things, God gives us a choice. Either
Mm,
we're going to be a victor or a victim of that circumstance. And those of us who are able to come on out of the other side and be victors over the circumstance, it then becomes our responsibility to go back to those who are still victims to help them to overcome.
yeah.
And so when we're vulnerable, only when we're really able to show ourselves how we truly are,
Mhm.
take all the masks, take everything away, where people can see our heart and see
Yeah.
our true, struggles and things that we've been through, then that's when it really connects. That's when they
Right.
really can see themselves in you,
Right.
and when you're at that point where you're vulnerable, you just, show how you really are. And I think, going back to another thing you said about, being authentically you,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so hard for so many people in this generation, because they are so bombarded with social media
Yep.
and with the images that's being portrayed, in front of them, whether it's true or not. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They're believing it, and then they are trying to measure themselves up against a false reality. And so when we do, as you said, be authentically yourself. Stand in your own skin, and really look at your life and the things that's in your life and the things that you have, then you'll realize you have enough.
Yeah.
You have enough. And like you said, you have enough. Not only do you have enough for where you are, but you have enough to start on that journey to get to where you're trying to get to.
Right.
And that's just such a blessing. So I'm excited for you for the book. I definitely going to
Yeah.
make sure I get my copy of it, right? So I can support you
Thank you.
and that way. So Ashley, I thank you for being on. Thank you for sharing your journey.
Of course.
Thank you for the work that you do. So I'm gonna let you have the last word. I'm gonna let you
Okay.
have the last word. Uh I want you to leave us with something, a quote, whatever it is, whatever. leave us with something, for those women or men just also who are listening to, some words of encouragement, or however you want to leave. Whatever words you want to leave us with. I'm not going to tell you what to say. You know what to say. And then also give your social media handles and things
Okay.
like that.
Hmm.
But first, hey guys, thank you guys for listening. And I told you that I was going to tell you how you can win $100. So you can win $100 by being our super subscriber, right? So in order to be a super subscriber, what do you got to do? You have to subscribe to our YouTube page, to our Facebook page, and to our Spotify podcast. And after you do all three of those, after you subscribe to all three of those, just text the word win to 866-326-0730, and you will qualify to win, right? Qualify to win $100 don't cost you nothing. Just a click of a button, and you hear already. You listen already. You watch already. You already hear. Just click the button. It's somewhere in there. Just click it, right? And that's all you got to do. And the contest is random and it's ongoing. So I could pick give somebody $100 tomorrow. I can give somebody the next day. It don't matter. It don't matter when. It just be a blessing whenever you get it, if you are able to win. All right. So in order to win $100 from the podcast, be one of our super subscribers, subscribe to our YouTube page, subscribe to our Facebook page, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify. And after you do that, text WIN to 866-326-0730 for your chance to win. Miss Ashley, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to give it to you, turn the floor over to you, and let you have the last word.
Words of encouragement. I'll say what I keep hearing is be true to you. In every single aspect of life, no matter what it is that you're doing, no matter where you are in this lifetime, no matter how old you are, whatever it is that's on your heart, whatever it is that God is giving you, whatever vision that you keep seeing that wakes you up out of your sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is that you feel like, you know what, this would be so dope if I could do it. Listen to that voice and be keen to yourself. Stay true to yourself and listen to it. It doesn't hurt to try. There's so many opportunities out there. There's so many things that people are waiting on you to do. There's so many people who are saying like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it too. And they're waiting on you to take the first step. So I would just say, if there is anything that's on your heart to do, be true to yourself and get it done. There's nothing wrong with owning your authenticity. There's nothing wrong with being unique. There's nothing wrong with being that one person out of 100 who decided to do something different. It makes all the difference when you step out and you be authentically you. Don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Don't pay attention to the Insta models and the social media gurus and all that. Be true to yourself and just do it. Nobody can stop you. Can't nobody say, oh, X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3. Just be true to you, own your authenticity, and find peace and purpose. And that's all I gotta say.
All right. You can't say it no better than that. You want to give your social media handles where they can follow you?
So you can find me at Ashley Renee James. That's my Instagram, or you can go to ownyourauthenticity.com. That's actually my blog site. And if you want, there's also facebook.com/ownyourauthenticity. You can find me on any three. Send me a DM, send me a message, or write me an email.
And where can they get the book? How can they get the book?
So they can get the book on Amazon, actually. It's on Amazon. You can type in A Journey to Becoming with my name, Ashley James, and it will pop right up. You can get ebook, hardcover, or paperback versions on sale.
All right. And there you have it. We can't say it no better than that. Miss Ashley James, thank you so very much for being on. Thank you for blessing us with your time. To all my listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is Ernest James with the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And I believe that everyone can live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And so my mission is to make sure that people deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. So until next time, we will see you guys next week. Be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.